Hey, happy January. It is officially 2025. It is January 1st when I'm recording this. And I want to give a little review, I guess. A look back into 2024 or a look forward into 2025. Both, probably. I just had some thoughts on my mind and I wanted to talk for a little bit and just get them out. I guess the thesis is 2024 was a long year, especially on the back half of it. It was just hit after hit after hit. Like, you could not, or at least I could not, go like a week, a month without something happening, all within about a span of 3 to 4 months. I guess the last quarter of the year, I find out my graduation gets pushed back. My car is breaking down. I owe a lot of money to various things, and it's starting to. I can't say it's starting to. It got to me a little bit, where it was just, wow, I'm really stressed. There's a lot of things happening, and I'm not sure how to fix them all, and things just kind of kept happening one after another, after another, after another. Like, so many things that could have gone wrong just went wrong. And it's weird. Typically at the end of the year, it's like, oh man, I'm bittersweet that it's another year forward, but I'm also like, wow, I'm glad that's over. I'm hoping that 2025 is much less of the nonsense. That's the goal. 2025, no more nonsense. That's the idea. That's the hope. We'll see how good that is. I can't say that 2024 was without all bad things, like, I do feel like, I can't say that 2024 was all bad. I think I was able to do a lot of things I wouldn't have done any other time. Like, I feel like I did push myself a little bit in 2024, but that all happened mostly in the beginning, and the end was the end, so there's not much there to really like reminisce about, I suppose. But good things did happen in 2024. I have to give it credit for the little bit that it did. When it comes to like how I actually handled in 2024, I just felt, especially more toward the end, like this last 2-3 months, I felt very disconnected is the word I think I want to use. Disconnected from like myself and the people around me, and honestly just like the earth in general, like humanity and whatever. I felt just so, well, disconnected. I felt so separate. I was just kind of going through the motions. I was waking up, I was going to work, I was going to school, I was seeing people, but I wasn't necessarily in those moments the way I wish I was. And that sucks. I don't know exactly what to put the blame on that for, but it did in fact happen. But that's okay, because the goal is to reconnect. The goal for 2025 is just to reconnect with my sense of self and my sense of purpose, or with other ever hippie stuff that you can think of. I just want to feel connected like I used to be. I do think part of that is getting off the phone more, getting off the social media and stuff, because I feel like a big part of that disconnect came from scrolling instead of living, if that makes sense. I would stay in bed for a long time scrolling through Twitter or Threads or TikTok or whatever, Instagram, instead of getting up and doing things. Or whenever I'm in public and things aren't taking a timely manner, I would open up my phone and go through Twitter or Threads or Instagram or TikTok instead of just being where I am. And yeah, sure, that stuff is fine sometimes, but when it's so often that whenever you have a spare moment, your first thing that you're doing is open up your phone to look at nothing, basically, I feel like very slowly that starts to chip away. And I think this was definitely a death by 1,000 cuts, because in the beginning I would do that and it would be fine, but now that it's so often, it feels like all the time I'm just, I don't want to say brain dead, but I feel very short-circuited. Like, I open up Twitter and I'm like, wow, I shouldn't be doing this, and I'll put my phone down. And then within a minute or two, I'm like, I'm bored, and I pick my phone back up and I just start doing it again. And that's not cool. That's not okay with me. I'm sure that for some people that's fine, but I'm not a fan of it. For the longest time I said that I want to be a creator and a creative, but I can't do that if I'm always consuming. Does that make sense? I feel like I'm just consuming more than I'm creating, and that's not something that I'm cool with. I wish I could create more, consume less. And I say that I wish, but that's something I can do, and that's one of my plans for this year is just live in the moment more, experience the real world more, connect with the real world more, and create based off of those experiences. I think that's a good idea for me. Connect more, create more. I realized I was using the 0.5 camera instead of the 1x, so here's the ×1 camera. Anyway, what were we talking about? Yeah, consuming and creating. Going back to 2024, I think one of the coolest things that I discovered was there can be a mix between music and film. That was something that I've always been interested in both. I took music classes throughout my entire schooling. I took film classes throughout high school. I took about 2 years of that. And it was so interesting to me. I loved being behind the camera and I loved making music. But those concepts seemed very separated. Like you had to be a musician or you had to be a filmmaker. And it wasn't until pretty late into last year where I really started pushing both, where I was using the Richard Ashby channel to do both, talk about music, but in a way where I can utilize filmmaking techniques and cool edits and that kind of stuff. And I'm excited to continue that forward. I'm trying to use social media as a way to gain inspiration rather than a way to distract myself. If I can use social media in a productive way, and that can be a slippery slope because you can always just keep scrolling on now instead of brain rot, whatever. You can start scrolling on educational things or tips and tricks or whatever and call yourself inspiration. But if you're not actually creating, you're just brain rotting in a different way. And that's a dangerous thing to go by, but it is still there. So I'm going to try to be careful about it. But I started finding cool transitions or cool effects I want to try out or things I want to use, and then putting that in like separate folders so that when I want inspiration, I can go into my inspiration folder rather than just scrolling on the endless explore page or the For You page or whatever, and getting lost down the rabbit hole of wherever that may take me. And I think that's going to be pretty beneficial to me. And I'm excited to do that kind of stuff next year. If we're going to talk about social media numbers, because I always do, I don't have it all memorized, but I believe on YouTube I am at 1935, something like that on YouTube. This channel has like 36. There is on TikTok. I did get banned this year on TikTok. That's something I forgot to talk about. Sometime over the summer or early fall, I want to say, I got randomly banned on TikTok. So I had to start over. So I'm at a whopping 18 followers, 17 followers, something like that on TikTok. And then on Instagram, I have 130. That is, I believe that's where I'm at. This year, I don't necessarily want to focus on growth and be like, oh man, I want to have this many followers, this is my goal, and this is how I want to get there. I really just want to focus on my goal of being connected. And if people want to follow me on that journey, then good. Thanks. You know, like I would love for people to follow me on that journey. I would love to make those numbers bigger, but I would much rather get the feeling for myself. I would rather get the feeling of I'm pushing myself creatively and in ways that I never thought that I could have. That to me is the goal this year, is just be a creative again. Be a creator. Do live up to the word that you've been calling yourself for years. I've always called myself a creator, but I barely create. So let's do more of that. Let's do more of that. Let me actually become a creator this year. That to me is a little more important than the actual follower numbers. Don't get me wrong, the follower numbers are cool too, but the other thing is a little more important to me. I want to start pushing myself more for the Richard Ashby channel. I just posted a video about the Behringer JT4000 Micro, and that has been getting really great reception. It hasn't been getting as many views as I would have expected it to, but the reception has been pretty positive, so I'm pretty satisfied with how that video is performing. And I would love to do more things like that that push me. As for like Instagram and TikTok, I'm just gonna treat those as more casual things. I'll post on there, but I'm not gonna focus on them. I think my focus is gonna remain YouTube and just being as forward as I can be, as forward thinking as I can be. I am excited for this year though, and I'm hoping it's not going to be as strenuous as the last one. I'm trying to prepare myself a little better than I did for 2024. I did survive 2024, but it was way tougher than I wanted it to be. Financially, I did strain myself a little bit, so I'm going to try to prepare myself early and start, saving more, maybe putting some more money in investments, that kind of thing. Just start preparing myself for any sort of nonsense that may happen throughout the year. But yeah, we are doing okay. I'm going to be taking a break from creation for the next little bit because I have to finish up this album, which is coming out really, really soon, and I didn't finish it. Part of the hardships from 2024 was this depression cloud that kind of landed over me from basically midway through November till now. Still kind of fighting through that, but I really, really want to finish this project. So I decided to lower the scope of it. Besides a whole album, it's just going to be a much smaller project, but something that I still want to be proud of for releasing, and something that I hope people will be happy listening to. I am having fun with it, but it's stressful. It's starting to get stressful because of the tight deadlines that I'm imposing onto myself, but I'll be okay. Everything will be fine. One song has been finished for a while. There's another one that I was working on today, and I have some ideas for others. It's just I need to actually sit down and get them actually moving. But because I don't have that much time, I should probably stop yapping and start working. So I guess I'll wrap it up there. Thanks for so much for listening if you made it this far. If you want to follow me on this journey, you can always subscribe to this channel. This is usually where I put my unfiltered thoughts. If you want to just hear about music stuff, you can subscribe to the Richard Ashby channel where I talk about music. I also have various other social medias, which I will leave in the description below. But yep, that's it. Thanks for listening. See you guys next time. Bye.